In the centuries since the Great War against Chaos, the Empire has improved its magical and technological prowess by leaps and bounds. With the growing prominence of the Imperial Colleges of Magic and the legalization of sorcery, battle magic and arcane instruments of destruction have become an increasingly important part of the Empire's battle plans. Few among these sorcerers' weapons are more powerful than the famed Luminarks of Hysh, war machines capable of harnessing the ethereal energies of light magic into a devastating blast of soul fire. At first glance, Luminarks of Hysh appear to be the naked guts of a massive telescope on wheels. A whole host of magic prisms, enchanted mirrors, and ether lenses rest on a delicate array of metal rods and wires. These instruments are carefully positioned and repositioned, always changing in order to perfectly focus the luminous power of the magical artifact at the weapon's core. An Orb of Sorcery, one of the enchanting crystals given to the Colleges of Magic by Teclis following their creation, rests in the heart of every Luminark. These beacons of Hysh, or light magic, are one of the Light Order's most prized possessions. Two light acolytes, personally trained by the Patriarch of the Light College himself, care for the instruments surrounding the orb. While they polish mirrors and lenses, the acolytes intone the spells needed to unleash the Luminark's most dangerous ability. They make the orb glow brighter and brighter until it eventually releases a brilliant burst of light. The carefully positioned prisms and lenses of the Luminark focus this wild power into a single, deadly bolt of light that leaves nothing but charred ruins and flaming corpses in its wake. This spell, known as Solheim's Bolt of Illumination, is incredibly dangerous. It strikes with the force of a cannonball and is capable of scything through entire ranks of enemies, piercing their bodies with superheated rays of light. The sturdiest of armors provide no protection against its power, and even monsters such as trolls, ogres, and minotaurs can be slain by a single bolt. In addition, Solheim's Bolt of Illumination is exceptionally dangerous to demons and the undead. The Wind of Hysh is in complete opposition to these foul creatures, and their corrupted flesh and bones ignite even more readily than those of mortal creatures caught in the Luminark's gaze. As the Wind of Hysh is renowned for its powers of protection, it should come as no surprise that the bolts unleashed by Luminarks of Hysh are not their only magical powers. The presence of even one such weapon calms the surrounding winds of magic, making it that much easier to dispel enemy spells. In addition, the light surrounding the Luminark seems to have a protective power of its own. Empire soldiers basking in its glow often find themselves saved from certain death. Sword blows will be turned aside by invisible forces, while bullets and arrows are turned into multicolored flashes of light moments before impact. Even giants and greater demons can find their attacks deflected by the Luminark's protective aura. This makes guarding a Luminark of Hysh an enviable job in an Empire army, though the extra fire this brings from enemy forces may counteract this benefit. While their use in combat is undeniable, Luminarks of Hysh are more valuable off the battlefield. They act as key components of the magical wards imprisoning the vilest artifacts and creatures captured by the Empire. The removal of even one Luminark from their post, even for a short period of time, dramatically weakens these arcane barriers and risks disaster. Should the wards fail, the sudden influx of evil into the heart of Altdorf could spell doom for the Empire. Thus, Luminarks are deployed only in the direst of circumstances, and even then only after a lengthy period of consideration by the Patriarch of the Light College. In Total War Warhammer, Luminarks of Hysh are a bit of a meme unit on the Empire roster. They cost 1700 gold in multiplayer, but on paper this does seem like an amazing deal. If you look at their stat cards, they're fantastic. 1.5k damage every 10 seconds, a speed of 50 as an artillery piece, and both magic and fire damage on its ranged attacks. It also has an aura of protection, granting nearby units a 10% ward save, and it decreases enemy winds of magic recharge rates by 20%. Sure, it only has 14 ammunition, but with damage like that, why would you need to shoot more than 14 times, right? With all these abilities, you'd think a Luminark of Hysh would be an auto pick. Well, it's not. Two things hold it back. First, and least important, it has a mediocre range of 320 meters. That's about 100 less than a cannon, making it difficult to get shots off on enemies as they approach. When combined with its low rate of fire, you might only shoot once or twice before your units engage with the enemy, and make finding a clean shot that much harder. Secondly, and much more importantly, getting the thing to fire is incredibly difficult. The charge up on the Luminark takes forever, and if anything obstructs its line of sight for even a second, it has to start the whole process over again. Then, even if it does shoot, its bolt is pretty easy to dodge with single model entities. Its best targets are blocks of infantry and cavalry, as they'll have a harder time dodging, but those tend to be lower to the ground, which in turn makes a line of sight an issue once more. All in all, I've had decent luck with him in campaign, but understand that it'll be almost never viable in a PvP scenario. Humans are just too good at taking advantage of his weaknesses. Still, when you do nuke the enemy's expensive lord or monster to half health with a single shot, it feels excellent. It can sometimes be worth bringing for that reason alone. As for closing thoughts, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of Luminarks of Hysh. They're a really fun, albeit pretty janky, unit in Total War. I also love the concepts of the Orbs of Sorcery powering magical weapons. I didn't talk about it a lot here, but I did it a lot in my Orbs of Sorcery video, so if you're curious about them, go check that out. Speaking of absolutely loved, if you've moderately enjoyed this video, feel free to leave some token of your satisfaction by liking or commenting on it down below. If you're feeling particularly bold, you may even feel like subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, but I'm just spitballing here. That's all I have for today though, so until next time, this has been Sigmar's Chosen, signing off for now.